The internet is full of people asking, how can I find my purpose? What is my purpose? How can I please find my purpose? And there are tons of examples and exercises and workbooks and books and blah, 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 blah on finding your purpose. And today we are not going to teach you how to find your purpose, but we are going to talk about it. So we're going to go to the one and only guy who knows everything or most things. Jay, can you explain to us what is purpose and fulfillment and happiness? Those three things I want to talk about today, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to. The thing is, discussions like this kind of revolve around whether or not you believe in a higher power.
Okay.
Because if you're a nihilist who believes existence is meaningless, why bother talking about purpose?
Wow. I don't even know what to say to that. Okay, fair play, fair point. I had never thought of that because I'm not that kind of person. But yeah, why would they ever consider anything about purpose? They wouldn't.
Yeah, similar if you're an atheist. Like, if you're an atheist, how deep can your purpose actually be? You don't believe in a higher power. You don't believe in God. You don't believe in a soul. You're just existing on earth. So the most purpose you could have is, I don't know, experience more pleasure or something.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? Or, I don't know, do some good.
Right, yeah.
My point is, generally, the people who find and embody and focus the most on purpose are people who believe in a higher power of some kind.
Okay.
And if you don't believe in a higher power, you may have trouble finding any kind of sense of purpose.
Interesting. I did not know you were going to go this way. I thought you were going to zig. You zagged. I'm so excited even more to hear the rest. So please. I'm like, oh, what? I'm thinking we're going to talk about business purpose and this. And you just, all right. So this makes sense, I guess. Why would somebody who doesn't believe in a higher power or there's more than a human being, why would they care about purpose? Okay.
Yeah. And when people say purpose, they usually are referring to some kind of deep soul calling, some kind of deeply fulfilling thing that comes from outside or from elsewhere or from inside or from deep down, or a pre-life purpose. They feel there's some kind of calling, and when they align with it, they feel that sense of purpose and meaning. Sometimes you get people who just want to find what they're good at and fit into society, and that might be what they mean by purpose.
Okay, so I have a question I want to interject with because I want to be clear for myself and the audience. So to me, I guess I kind of thought of purpose as kind of like goals, but you're saying like the life purpose, like why we're alive or exist or God put us here or whatever.
So it's good that you brought this up, because the first purpose I've been talking about was like purpose with a capital P, like your life purpose.
Okay, right.
And then I just mentioned people who maybe don't have a sense of that life purpose, but they want to feel a social purpose.
Yeah.
Which is, the purpose of their skills or their craft or fitting in or something.
Yes.
It's not such a higher calling, but when they're not fitting in nicely with society and excelling at what they do, then they don't feel they have a purpose in the tribe kind of thing. And so that's kind of like another form of purpose. And then there's what you just brought up, which is an in the moment purpose. Like, my purpose is to finish washing the dishes, or my purpose is to get the kids to school, or my purpose is to get one more client this week.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's like the very smallest kind of purpose, some in the moment goal kind of purpose, short-term goal kind of purpose.
Well, I've learned to focus on those short-term things for now, but yeah, okay. So I love that you just threw out three totally different definitions and versions of purpose. I'm like over here, on a little lonely island thinking about my next thing I'm going to do. And you're like being over here across the world being like all existential crisis and why are we alive? I love this. Okay. This is wonderful. This is why we define things in the beginning of the podcast, you guys. Okay. Imagine if we're both talking about each one and we don't realize it till the end of the episode.
Yeah. It would have been an hour of arguing.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. Thank you. You have blown my mind already. And we're like, what, 2 minutes in?
Well, it's important because a lot of people use this word purpose.
Yeah.
Even people searching or clicking on this video, and they might have a different idea of the word, a very different idea. And so then anything we say about purpose will be confusing to them because we'll be talking about one kind of purpose and they'll be thinking of another kind of purpose and so on and so forth. So I'm happy to explain any or all of them, or we can explore them together. But what kind of purpose do you want to talk about? Like all caps, all capitals purpose, life purpose, divine purpose that fulfills your soul, or just small capital P purpose in society, like to find your fit and feel like you're doing your task or doing your work, or tiny little baby lowercase purpose of goal in the moment?
Well, that's a great question. And automatically my first response is like all of them, but I have to
In
be
order,
realistic.
which one first?
So let's go with a big capital P purpose and work our way down, because I feel like
all caps, life purpose.
All caps, life purpose. Why are we here?
Okay.
Right. And so I think a lot of people think of purpose as this.
Sure. So this can get even more metaphysical and existential, because if you believe that we're in a matrix, an illusion, and that everything's in our minds and we control the illusion and no one else exists and there's no one else outside of us, then the purpose kind of becomes silly. Like, if you're just in one giant virtual reality, what's the purpose of virtual reality? Like, I don't know, do whatever you want, control everybody, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, some people believe we're in a matrix and they're the only person controlling the matrix and in the matrix, and they're all perceiving their own reality kind of thing. And so if you have this belief, what kind of purpose can you have living in a virtual reality?
No, I guess the only purpose you can have is to win the game. But if you're controlling it, of course you're going to win the game. So really, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Like, if you're Neo and you got tubes in you and you're just in a pod, like in your own little personal virtual reality where no one else exists, what is the purpose?
There's none.
Yeah, it's kind of bleak. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, their purpose was to feed the machines, right? And so, but that was the machine's purpose, not theirs. So fair play. See, here we go. You're still like, yay.
So I'm going to propose for this conversation that we're not all in a matrix of our own making, and that we are actually interacting with other souls and other entities and other beings. And even if we are in an illusion of some kind, it's a shared one.
Yes. Agreed.
It's a collective consciousness illusion, not an individual personal illusion.
Agreed.
And so if it is a collective consciousness illusion and we're all in a shared reality of some kind together, then maybe there is a purpose. Like, maybe there's something to this, right?
Yeah.
And maybe each of us individually has a purpose. So there are 8 billion people on the planet in this shared illusion. And why would there be 8 billion redundancies? Like, they can't all have the same purpose. That's
True.
Silly.
True.
Or I don't know, maybe it's not. Maybe they can have the same purpose, you know? Maybe I'm making assumptions. But intuitively, it says, even if we're all snowflakes falling from the sky, we're all individual snowflakes with our own individual time, space, shape, crystalline structure, etc.
Right.
And so maybe a better analogy is cells in a human body. So each individual human, each individual one of us could be like a cell of a higher power, right? There's God, and then we're all parts of God, or there's source and we're all extensions of source, or there's similar to how there's a body and then there's all the cells of the body. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So how does a cell know its purpose? Like, do cells have individual purposes?
No, they have a collective purpose.
Sort of. Does the cell in your nails have the same purpose as the cells in your nasal passages?
No, I guess what I mean by they have a collective purpose, depending on the thing, they work together. So like you said, the ones in my fingernails aren't going to work the same as the ones in my nose.
Right. So does each cell feel like, oh, I have a special purpose, or I have a unique purpose? Do they feel like I'm playing a role in service to the whole body's purpose, the higher purpose? And what about cancer cells? Are they on purpose or off purpose?
Wow. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
Sure. But picture it, right? If we're all extensions of a higher power, we're all individual souls of the oversoul or the higher soul, or whatever you call it, then just like cells are part of a body, we're kind of in service to that overall body that contains us.
So then it's both then, the individual and the overall, no?
Well, yeah, just like with cells. So maybe I come to Earth to be a giant famous dictator. Is that in service to the overall oversoul, the higher power source? Maybe Maybe not.
Maybe, right?
Is that a cancer cell? And does that serve a purpose? Like,
Yeah.
or maybe I just come to Earth to be a skin cell, you know?
Yeah. True.
Or I come to be a pimple to let us know that we're not eating healthy or something. That's a helpful cell thing.
Yeah. Fair play.
So that could be my individual role or my individual purpose. Am I going to feel fulfilled if I go and try and be a beard cell?
No.
Right. I won't feel fulfilled unless I play my role well.
True.
But if I do play my role well and I live a good life, like the cell comes and the cell dies and it's done its thing and the whole body thrives because of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So this kind of gives you an idea of like the overall big purpose and the smaller individual purposes. Maybe this is like a fourth kind of purpose.
Okay.
I don't know, right?
Right.
But generally, if you look at all cells, you can see some sort of general purposes for all of them. Even though they're all different, does any cell come and intend to immediately die? Like immediately?
No.
Right. So these cells intend to sort of live.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, does any cell come and intend to harm all the other cells?
No.
Right. Outside of maybe cancer cells or something.
Even then, my intuition says they're just a cell. It's not like a devious like plan, you know, on the cell's part.
They're doing natural cell things, even though we think it's unnatural and bad. It's actually kind of what's supposed to
serving its purpose.
Yeah. So maybe so, right?
Right.
So then you can see another general intention of the cell. The cell comes to live. All of them come to live for their lifetime. Mm-hmm. All of them come to harmonize with the rest of the body. Ideally, generally, that's right.
Yes.
Right. And so you can see that these cells have some overall purposes, overall intentions that are umbrella intentions that go beyond their individual roles.
Yes.
So the skin cell does one thing and the nail cell does another thing and the tooth cell does another thing. But all of them came with the intention to live and the intention to harmonize.
Yes, they did. 100%.
Right. So all 8 billion people on the planet, maybe one's like a skin cell and one's like a tooth cell. You know, they all do different things.
Yeah.
But all 8 billion people likely have some overall umbrella intentions and some umbrella purposes that are active, that they should be aligning with, you know what I mean? That they are called to align with. And so
yes,
I would say that the 3 umbrella purposes are to experience freedom, joy, and growth.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you're like a janitor like my grandfather or a homeless guy like I used to be, or some super famous preacher like Joel Osteen, or some celebrity like Beyonce. They all came to experience freedom, joy, and growth in the best ways and the most ability that they're able.
All right.
And you won't find anybody who's not aiming to experience those things.
Fair play.
And so this comes into desires. If you have a desire, you're aiming to experience satisfaction of that desire.
Yes.
Is anyone not?
No.
Right. And the 3 main desires are freedom, joy, and growth.
Yes. Yeah.
And those could all combine into love.
Yeah, they could.
They're like sub desires of love.
Yeah, it's true.
So 8 billion people. And if I'm ever confused about someone's overall purpose, what can I sum it up to?
And it's love.
Yeah. Freedom, joy, and growth.
Freedom, joy, and growth.
Yeah. They're here to satiate that desire. And it's gonna be permanent. Like, it's never going away. They're always gonna want to satiate their freedom, joy, and growth.
Well, every desire we have falls under one of these categories. So yeah.
They're all gonna want to be more loving and more true. Even if they phrase it in different words, even if they're from different cultures, even if they have different ideas, even if they're some nihilistic, life is meaningless person, what's their secret desire? Guaranteed.
Freedom, joy, or growth.
Yeah. They want to feel more love and be more loving. They want people to love them for their nihilism.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And they want to find another nihilist to love.
So they can grow together.
Right. And experience freedom and joy and growth.
In a nihilistic way.
Right. Even if they go be a hermit on a mountain, they just want to experience the freedom of peace. They want to be free to have peace, or be free to be with nature, or whatever. Free to be out of the rat race.
Most people that want money, they want freedom.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. Usually, for me, it does.
Sure. Or maybe your path to money forces you to grow. And so your soul, your overall purpose is forcing you to grow. Like, that's your purpose. Your purpose was to grow. Why are you not growing? Get your shit together and make more money. Why don't you grow? Like, Or it could be freedom, like you said, or it could be joy. Maybe making more money gives you a lot of joy, or maybe it satisfies all three.
Yeah. Okay. This is good. Super helpful.
Or maybe money satisfies none of them. Some people have tons of money and they still don't feel freedom, joy, and growth. So the point is, there are these umbrella intentions for all 8 billion humans, the same way there are umbrella intentions for all of the cells.
Yeah.
And just like cells are part of an overall body, we are individual souls that are part of an overall higher power.
Yes. Okay.
But that overall higher power doesn't dictate every little moment of our lives and what we should do, the same way that our body doesn't dictate what every single cell should do.
Okay.
The cells are allowed to do their cell things.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Right. And if the cell wants to go off book, the cell can go off book.
Right. Okay.
Or maybe this is where the analogy breaks down, and maybe cells can't go off book, but humans can.
Yeah, that feels correct. Like, because they don't really have free will the way we do.
Maybe not. Like, if you were to examine cells under a microscope and stuff, would they be behaving the way that our bodies dictated, or would they be doing their own thing in overall service and harmony to the body?
Well, now that feels right. Okay. I don't know, but yeah. All right. Fair play. I understand your point. And
yeah, it's all good. These are murky waters and new territory, but deep down in our gut, most of us can feel what is true and what is not.
Yes.
And a lot of times we mask that with our mind and our intellect, and we're like, yeah, but this. But the great artists and poets and Sufis and mystics who have come before often hit on these truths, and then 100 years or 1,000 years later, science and logic and the intellect catches up, and they're like, oh, wow, everything they said was true. Like, quantum science is just catching up to stuff the mystics have said for centuries. So
True.
even now, I can say some things, or we can come to some conclusions, and people can nitpick it and tear it apart in the comments. But just like the ancient mystics, there's going to be the ray of truth in it, and people are going to feel it, and eventually the intellect is going to catch up. But it's still a fun conversation and an interesting thing to explore that will shed light on people's purpose, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So even though we're all aiming for more freedom, growth, and joy, every individual of the 8 billion people on the planet are going to experience that and arrive at that and explore that in different, unique ways.
Yeah, fair enough.
What's freedom, growth, and joy for the hermit is not what's freedom, growth, and joy for the king.
True. Very true.
What's freedom, growth, and joy for the model is not what's freedom, growth, and joy for the housewife.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe they overlap. Maybe you find somebody where they are.
They might, but for the most part, I think, the housewife isn't really too fussed on her appearance when the kids are little,
Right. Okay. And everyone's going to have a different journey moment by moment, the same way every cell has a different journey moment by moment. There might be 2 cells in your nails or 2 cells in your lips, but one of them is going to be drier than the other, or one's going to need more moisture, or one's going to activate a certain way or move a different direction at a different second. So some people might have to go through heroin addiction or homelessness while others don't. Some people might become rich one moment and poor the next, or poor one moment and rich the next. Some people might be shaped a certain way for much of their life and then change shape. I don't know someone's purpose or journey moment to moment, the same way none of each of these cells know the cell next door's movement or journey in any moment either.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So a lot of times people go through things in life that feel terrible and painful, and then you'll often talk to them 5 or 10 years later, and what will they say about it?
The best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so glad it happened.
Yeah, it was probably part of my purpose. It was part of my calling. I think I was meant to do this.
Yes, it was part of my purpose. This is how I feel about my addiction and my overdose and all that stuff.
Yeah. And so when I hear that, it resonates with how I understand life and how I understand the universe and my theory about milestones. So I don't think I've ever talked about it on camera.
We have, but we've never shown them what it is when you talked about the dots.
So the way I see life is that before a soul comes to Earth, it sets up a journey through life, but not a set in stone journey, a milestone journey. So there's a milestone here at 3 or 5 years old or whatever, or maybe it's not even set by years, but there's a milestone of divorce at some point. And you can either embrace that milestone and move towards it quickly and easily, or you have the free will to avoid that milestone forever. But the thing is, you'll be rewarded with more satisfaction, fulfillment, joy, and pleasure the faster and easier you accept that milestone. And you will get more resistance and pain and suffering and agony the more you avoid that milestone.
Yeah.
It's never to determine what you do. It's simply to help guide you toward the milestone, like a compass.
Yes.
And so in my early years, I did everything I could to avoid being homeless. I fought it. I raged against it. I tried a million different options and excuses and so on. And my life only got better when I finally accepted it and was like, you know what? This is part of my life now. Maybe I'm supposed to be permanently homeless, but I embraced this milestone. I was clearly being called towards it. My soul clearly wanted this to happen. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I kind of feel miserable, but accepting it feels oddly nice. And
yes.
So as soon as I moved towards accepting that milestone, the pleasure and the joy started to come back, and my legs started to turn around, and everything changed. And the same goes for almost anything painful you can think of in your life.
Yeah.
When you accept
That's why I just made a big sigh, because like everything in my life that's frustrated me currently and in the past, when I accepted and I'm like, well, this is how it is, and now I have to decide what to do after that. Just that in and of itself makes things better.
Yeah, you can say, I accept being here. I accept that I might have to live here for the remainder of my days. I'm at peace with that. I will come up with a system. I will work on it. I will work around it. I will embrace it. Maybe this is how I'm supposed to serve the world. Maybe this is a permanent milestone. And as soon as you accept that, things change. Your whole body changes. Your whole vibe changes. Your whole energy changes. And so to me, this fixes the problem people have with, is it free will or is it predestination? Is it free will or is it predestination versus free will? And it's like, it's kind of both. And the same goes for purpose. Is it my purpose that I decide whatever I want because I'm the captain of my ship? Or is it God's purpose and a higher power that's guiding me? Like, people always argue over these things. And it's like, it's both, man. It's both. It's both. It's both. It's both. Stop arguing. It's both.
There's the clip.
It is both. Some overarching purposes and predestinations and goals and milestones that you are being nudged towards and guided towards, but you have the free will to avoid them for your entire lifetime. And so no one is making you go towards them. And if you avoid them forever, you will reincarnate. Your soul will come back and it will try again with some new milestones or the same milestones or whatever. And that's why some things feel like fate that had to happen and predestined and yada, yada, yada from a higher power that are calling you. And some things feel totally up to you and completely free. And it's like, oh, I could have done anything. I could have gone any way I wanted, man. Like, God doesn't decide nothing. It's like, yeah, I know. It's both.
That's interesting. So I've never heard anyone talk about it like that before. And we've never even had this discussion where it's both. Like, and it makes sense because some things, like, I knew that I had to come here and do what I had to do because it felt like there was something else making me do it. Like, there was some other reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of my son. You know, he had emergency surgery shortly after I got here and stuff. So I don't know why. I just knew that I would, even though, okay, so here's a question then. So even though I felt 100% sure, I felt pushed. I didn't feel pulled and attracted and called. I felt pushed here, even though I knew I wanted to be with you there. So I guess the question is that possible to feel that like it's God or whatever, something, or so I have to be there?
So I would ask you.
I can't even articulate the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I would ask you, what's more likely, that a milestone will call you or that a milestone will get behind you on the path of life and start pushing you towards it?
The milestone would call me to it.
Yeah. Okay. So, and how does it
attract me?
Yeah. And how does a milestone call you? When you get, remember what I said, when you get close to the milestone and when you start moving towards it, you will feel ease and
peaceful and acceptance. But neither choice
Just
felt
stop,
like.
Stop, please. Okay. I'm trying to answer your question and walk you through stuff. So, what's more likely, that a milestone will call you or get behind you and push you?
Call me.
Right. And what's more likely to push you towards something? Family and pressures and society and obligations and ego and your intellect?
Yes.
Right. So if something is pushing you, is it likely to come from a higher power and a higher calling and a milestone purpose that will fulfill you? Or is it likely to come from some kind of bullshit societal thing?
the milestone is going to call me and
Yeah.
not push me.
Right.
And my family and society is going to push me and not call me.
Yeah. Or even your own ego or your own intellect.
Yeah. All the things. I just didn't want to list all the things. But yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And sometimes if we avoid our milestones too long, we get into a corner in life where all the options seem kind of dark and bleak.
Yes.
Right. But like if you look at a map, one of the options is going to take you closer to your milestone, and the other ones are going to take you further away. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
So even if all the options suck and feel painful, one of them is going to feel slightly less painful and slightly more joyful because it moves towards your milestone purpose that your soul put on the board when you came.
Yeah.
Right. And so out of those two options, one of them felt more joyous, more peaceful, more easy, more accepting, even though they were both painful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's never equal. It's never like, yeah, every option feels exactly the same bad. I swear.
Yeah. No. Even though choosing to stay in Toronto was painful because I wouldn't see my children, it felt easier. Obligation pushed me the other way.
Yeah. And I made it easier and easier. I was like, you can run your business here. I'll do eBay from here. I'll hunt down items for you.
I know you were ready to spend like our grocery money on the things.
Yes.
So I know.
Yes, because your milestone was calling you. It was like, look, this is the easier path. This is the joyous path. This is the freedom path. This will help you. This is your purpose. Go to this man or stay in Toronto or whatever it is, and it will work out for you. And if you notice what happened when you finally trusted me and said, okay, I accept this, what happened?
Like everything felt better.
And you got everything you wanted. You got to keep your relationship and see the family.
Yes.
But not by moving towards them, by accepting me.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. This is how the milestones work. It's not rocket science. Everyone's experienced this.
Yeah.
And there's always one choice, at least one choice, that moves you closer to your milestone, the purpose that's calling you, whether it's divorce or homelessness or moving to a different city or whatever, even just getting a drink of water. Like there's something calling you. And if you listen to the calling and move towards it, you're rewarded with fulfillment and joy and pleasure and acceptance. Or if it's two shitty choices, you're at least rewarded with slightly less bad feelings.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like I knew that it would be hard to stay in Toronto, but the feelings were better about it because I'm already there. Like they already miss me. I'm already hearing the things about them, like, and so like it's just gonna be the same.
Yep. And that guidance is available all the time. Like when you're doom scrolling too long, you can feel that guidance sitting there in your heart, in your nervous system, in your body, in your soul, calling you towards your real purpose. Your real purpose is to go help the world or improve your delivery system of value or improve your beauty system. It's calling you to get off your ass and work out or something. And here you are doom scrolling. And if you can, you're welcome to avoid it. You're welcome to go away from the milestone or the purpose or the calling or the guidance. You have the free will to doom scroll permanently all day. No one will stop you. God will not stop you. No one will.
Yeah. And it's funny.
You will feel worse.
Yeah, but it's funny though, because those people will hear a voice or have a feeling as I should stop. I should stop doom scrolling, or I should go wash dishes, and they ignore that voice because they think it's guilt, and instead it's their body trying to push them towards the milestone and help them and make them feel better because they'll feel better if they stop the doom scrolling.
Well, it's calling them, not pushing them. But yes, exactly.
Well, that's what I meant, actually. Thank you for correcting. Yeah.
It's mostly semantics. I knew what you meant.
No, but it's good for the audience because they may not have realized.
Yeah. With topics like this, and all topics really, it's important to read between the lines and really understand the message that's being sent and conveyed, the intention and the heart and the root of the message, because words change and cultures change and times change and meanings change and translations change. And most people have their own definitions of every single word in their head. And I can't correct them on every single definition of every single word. So hopefully the overall understanding is coming through. But either way, doing my best to be clear.
No, I love it. Thank you for helping me be clear.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. So this covers a lot of aspects of purpose, but it was mostly about divine purpose and soul's purpose versus individual free will and individual purpose or life journey. It didn't talk too much about purpose in society like finding your true calling, like finding your life's work, or finding your next big phase of life, or whatever people are seeking, right?
Yeah.
There's this desire to be clear on who you are and what you're about. That's sort of different from this joy, freedom, love intentions, and different from my individual life journey. It's more like, where do I fit in society kind of purpose.
So this is the second definition of purpose that we were clarifying earlier. So I agree. I think that the freedom, joy, and growth, like the last one and the first one, kind of go together, or they could. But this one, I feel like it's a bit different, because what is our purpose among society, like for being together, right?
Yeah. So depending on how spiritual you get, the grand purpose is more like a crown chakra purpose or an indigo chakra purpose. And this purpose in society is more like a solar plexus purpose. What is my place in the tribe?
Right.
Who am I as a person?
Identity. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Am I a speaker or a teacher? Am I an actress or a musician? Who am I? What do I do? What do I provide? What's my primary value? What's my mission and my goals? These kind of things. My life's work.
It's funny because I made a comment to my daughter recently that my mom still doesn't know what I do.
It might be because you don't know what you do.
And she goes, well, I kind of don't really either. I know that you've worked with OnlyFans girls, but I know that you help them and you help them make money. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I did that. Yes. And so just to so there was a word for her to understand my purpose here. I just said, I'm a podcaster. Right.
Sure.
But then after the conversation was over, I asked myself, well, but I'm more than that. Because yes, podcasting is part of what I do, but and I've had a lot of confusions. And so part of the reason why, the audience isn't going to know this, but we filmed an episode before this and I got upset during filming off camera, but it comes back to actually this part, right? And so I'm not really even sure what is my purpose. Is it to be your wife, to be your trophy wife? Is it to be your marketer? Is it to be your partner? Is it to be your student only? Am I supposed to just run the things and be your buffer? I really can't put my own finger on it. So I can't really expect others to either.
True. And this is an issue a lot of people run into. And so when a lot of people, when they talk about this, talk about finding their purpose. And I used to even teach exercises to find your purpose, list your likes, list your dislikes, all these kind of things. And they're helpful, but they don't work for everybody. And you have to be in a certain headspace to do them. And they don't magically give you your place in the world either. And this is because you're not finding your purpose. You are revealing your purpose. Everyone has layers and layers and layers of bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it unless maybe you're born as some Buddhist, child Buddha or indigo child.
Right.
And even then, I'm not sure. So everyone has layers and layers of bullshit. And to get clear on your purpose requires dropping more and more layers. And if you only drop one layer, then you only get a tiny little sense of your purpose or your role. And if you drop a couple layers, then you get a hint of your purpose or your role. And so most people will spend forever in confusion, decades, maybe all their life in confusion about their purpose, because they don't do the inner work and they don't drop these layers and they don't start loving themselves and accepting themselves and exploring themselves and knowing themselves. They don't set boundaries and stand up for who they are or claim a clear identity. Their solar plexus chakra is all messed up and their energy is not good in their chest, in their rib cage. They just feel uncomfortable in their nervous system and themselves, and they're not at peace with who they are, and they haven't done the work to drop all the layers of bullshit and tap into who they really are. And if you keep the layers there, how will you ever see or know your purpose?
Can't.
Yeah.
The layers are covering up what your purpose is.
Yep.
And you're 100% with this, because the more I've been really actively, since I've been here, working on myself and going through those layers, and it is painful and it has been difficult, but it has also been easy at the same time. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. Like once I kind of lift the corner of one of the layers, it like flies right off. It's the lifting of the corner that's a bit tricky for me right now, but we'll get there. Anyway, it's super helpful. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And it's easy because there's nothing easier than being who you are. Like, it's not a hard homework assignment. It's not a tough job. Cats don't think, oh man, it's so hard to be who I am. Rocks don't think it's so hard to be who I am. The cosmos doesn't think it's so hard to be who I am. They all just be who they are.
Because when you really think that, if you really think that it's hard to be who I am, it's because you're not being who you are.
Right. It feels hard because you've got tons of masks on, tons of layers, and those add up. They're like a lead wall. But you're holding them up with your ego and your intellect and your obligations and your shoulds and your coulds and your this and that and all your limiting beliefs and all your like tension in your body and trauma stored. That's what's holding them up. And if you clear the trauma in your nervous system, a layer drops. If you change your limiting beliefs, a layer drops. It's so easy to let go. It's so easy to accept. If you accept your milestones and stop trying to fight what's calling you, another layer drops, and you get to get clearer and clearer on your purpose. And even though you're not fully aware of your purpose, I bet you're clearer now than you were a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yes, because now I have it down to like a little box of a few things,
right?
Or before it was like a giant box of a lot of things,
right? Because you let those layers drop and got to reveal more of your true self and your true purpose. So the thing is, that takes work, and there's not one easy handbook for how do I get through all these layers or how do I drop these layers. And it's like, well, for some people, it's somatic work and somatic therapy and EMDR. And for some people, it's intellectual stuff like affirmations and mindset stuff and limiting beliefs. And for some people, it's spiritual work like energy and attitude and meditation and dance and vibes and attitude and approach to life. Some people, it's a combination of all three of these things or something I haven't even mentioned. And so you have to apply yourself. And most people don't like to apply themselves. They want easy buttons and magic bullets and magic pills and whatever. They don't want to apply themselves. And so, but the thing in life is, how do we get the best stuff in life? How do we get confidence in life? How do we get a great empire? How do we get a wonderful relationship? How do we get an incredible partner? How do we get an incredible family? How do we get more happiness and more joy? Is it by not applying ourselves, by sitting on the couch, doing the same old things, not changing our minds, not changing our emotions, not changing our bodies? Basically, my question was, is doing the bare minimum how you get great things in life? Your answer is
no. You can't do the bare minimum in life and have what you want. You have to do the hard work. I hate that word. I hate that phrase, but it's true. This is not. It's not for the faint of heart. But if you want what you want and you want to improve, you have to do the things.
Yeah, and it's not hard work. It's applying yourself. It's not hard work if you're walking north for a long time and north is getting pretty dark and grim and negative.
Yeah.
It's not hard work to turn around and go south.
No, it's not.
It might be a long journey back. You might have to take many steps south. You might look down the road and be like, man, that looks like a long journey with a lot of steps. Maybe it is, but it ain't hard. You just turn around and start walking. Take the first step, then the second step. Applying yourself is not hard.
No.
But if you've gone down a dark path and have a lot of layers and masks, it might take some serious application. Some committed, disciplined application.
Fair play. Fair enough. Okay.
And it might feel uncomfortable or feel unfamiliar, and you might be more used to walking north and I don't know about this different direction and yada, yada, yada. And you might be scared, but it is not hard work, but it is committed application.
Okay.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Can you tell the difference between hard work and committed application?
Yes.
Can you tell the difference between effortlessly turning around and staying fearful in your comfort zone walking north?
Yes.
Right. And so this is the thing. People want to find their purpose, but they don't want to apply themselves. They want to keep walking the same direction, approaching life in the exact same way. And I'm here saying, no, change your direction, approach life in a different way, approach it in the ways I'm suggesting or in new ways that I haven't suggested. But either way, approach it differently and apply yourself with commitment and take the steps back south, and you're going to find your purpose. You will reveal the truth.
There's a clip.
Thank you. So for you, hopefully you've seen that your purpose in society, your life's work purpose, reveals itself more and more the more you drop these layers.
Yeah.
The more you feel into yourself. And since this social purpose with society and your tribe is very related to the solar plexus chakra and the energy there, the energy in your rib cage, which is probably tight or anxious from time to time and probably blocked up, and you haven't addressed it in your body or your mind, and you have limiting beliefs about purpose, and you think you can't find it and it's hard and no, purpose is tough or whatever. Like, you're going to have to change these beliefs, and you're going to have to work on this energy or this trauma in your body. You have to approach purpose with a different attitude. You can even say stuff like, you know what? My purpose is already here and it's already clear. I believe, I trust the source, the higher power is going to reveal it to me. I'm letting go of layers. You know, you can do these things. You can change your attitude about it.
I know what I think that people will judge me for it. And I think that they will talk a lot of shit about it.
Yeah, if you just say your purpose is to help this man be rich and famous, or help this man touch the world, or help this man elevate 1 billion hearts or 8 billion hearts or whatever. I'm just here to help this man do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, period. That's my purpose. Like, it sounds judgy. It sounds judgeable. That sounds silly. That sounds ridiculous. That sounds like you're not an individual and you're not a empowered feminist. And oh my goodness, how could you do this? You'd set women back 1 million years. But if that's your soul's calling, what are you supposed to say? Your soul didn't send you here with milestones that people could judge. People would judge you for your heroin addiction. People would judge you for getting clean of heroin. People judge you for anything.
Thank you.
Just your layers and tune into your purpose and own it. Because judgment from others is a gift, man. It's the way you filter out which of the 8 billion humans are for you. The only way to know which of the 8 billion humans are for you is to put out your honest self, shine it bright, and let them judge or not judge. The ones who accept and embrace are for you. The ones who judge were never for you.
Well, it's even goes further than all that things you just said, because it's like part of it is to be your trophy wife, and the person who I used to be is shocked and amazed that I would ever even consider that as my purpose in this life. Like, what is wrong with me?
Well, whatever. I think trophy wives are super valuable, and I don't judge any of them. And I think they can be a massive blessing on the planet. And it wouldn't surprise me if Mary Magdalene or Lilith or whoever was like a trophy wife back in the day. So that seems like a pretty big impact on society. So who knows?
Well, anyway, I really appreciate all of this. You're super helpful. You're amazing. And so I want to know, I don't really ask you guys this too much, but anymore, I want to know what you think about someone or my purpose being wanting to be Jason's trophy wife. I really want to know what you think and your initial reaction and what your purpose is. I'd love to know what you believe your purpose. This number two definition of purpose that we're talking about today, which is your purpose in society as a whole, as part of the collective. So, and so Jay, I give you that same question. I'd love for you to share with the audience, because I know the answer, but what is your purpose as number two, in society?
Oh, my purpose is to significantly and permanently raise the vibe or consciousness of 8 billion people or more if the population grows.
Yay. I knew the answer, but I wanted you to share it with our audience, since I asked them and they heard mine. That's the first time I've ever said that to anyone else besides you. So.
I love it. I paused because I'm not sure if that's like more of my divine higher purpose or if that's my social role or both. Like, I wasn't sure what you were asking for.
So now this leads to a new question. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's really great. You actually segued nicely for me. Thank you. So what if both, or can they be the same, right? So my social purpose to be your trophy wife, also, you know, the person who, and when I say that, that's the umbrella term, because underneath is sharer, supporter, cook, maid, lover, blah, 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 all the other things that fall under that, including the business. So you said you're not sure if yours is from the first one or the second one. They can be the same though, can't they?
So I'm not the expert on this, but they can probably be the same. I don't see why they couldn't. The thing is, your social purpose to fit in the tribe usually needs a catchy role or title. It's really hard if you say, I'm an artist, supporter, maid, lover, trophy wife, blah, 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 blah. It's like no one in society is resonating with this. It's not clear. It doesn't help people. It's not clear for you either. Like, do you really know your role? Like, it doesn't sound like you know your role. It sounds like you're trying to cram a million roles. And you meet someone like that and they're like, I'm a multi-passionate, right? I'm a multi-passionate. Why did they say I'm a multi-passionate? It's because they got tired of trying to explain all the million things they do.
Yes.
And so they just own their new purpose, and their new purpose, like the title of their purpose, rather, it's not a new purpose. It's a new title for their purpose of multi-passionate.
Well, if I had to pick one word for the both of us, for you, it would be teacher. And for me, it would be marketer.
Great. Promoter, marketer. I love it. Some people would say groupie or fangirl. Some people would say manager. Some people, like, I'm not here to kibitz about titles or nail down which one is which or yours or mine. I'm trying to point out how these social purposes tend to manifest or tend to be expressed. A hermit or a nomad doesn't say, I'm just a guy who lives off the land and does my own thing and blah, 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 blah. They just say, I'm a hermit or I'm a nomad, right? Or they just say, I'm me. Why do they do this? Because the social purpose, the solar plexus purpose, the identity in a tribe purpose usually needs some kind of box that other tribe members can interact with. Like, you got to put yourself in a box. Britney Spears or Kanye West or whoever might do like a bunch of different things, write books, be fashionistas, whatever.
Right.
But when they're navigating the world and someone asks what you do, like, I'm a musician or I'm a creator, and they might evolve their title as their life journey evolves and their path evolves, but at least they were clear on their purpose for the time being.
Fair enough.
And if you don't have that title for yourself, you might not be feeling very clear on your purpose in society, in the tribe.
I don't.
Right. Well, that's something to fix, and you can change your energy and you can get clearer and you can come up with a title that suits you. I just came up with a million titles.
Actually, I liked manager.
Great. I was like a fountain of titles.
Yeah.
But it's not up to me. It's up to each person to find their title.
Sure. Well, for me, I liked it because I manage your clothes and manage your food and manage your comfort and manage your schedule and manage the content, the social media and who we shares with and podcast episodes and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this feels feels better.
I love it. Great.
It's the closest I felt to the right thing in a minute. So
sure. Beats introducing yourself as trophy wife.
Yes. Because then that's a bunch of assumptions that's all I do.
Yeah. In the tribe, for your tribal role and tribal purpose, manager might work better. But I'm not here to tell you. If you wanted to say trophy wife, I'll back it 100%. I'm good either way.
See, you guys, this is why I'm in love with this man. I love you. You're the best. Open-minded, helpful, kind, considerate, flexible, loving. Like, what?
Thank you.
Can we please clone you? I want to give one of you to like all my girlfriends who are so sad and miserable and their relationships are lonely.
Well, that's what a good manager does, right?
Yeah.
Gets the person out to the world. So I don't know how we're doing for time, but that's hopefully a decent summary of the capital P purpose, not the all caps purpose, just capital P purpose, life's work purpose.
Right. You know? I think it's great. I love that they can be combined if that's what feels best for you and if that feels right for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, whatever. This is you. We're not telling you what to do. We're not even making suggestions. We're just having a conversation about each other. My hope is always that you take our examples and our life and our conversation and you see how it fits to your own and you fit it into your own. Don't like, oh, they said this, I have to do this. No. So yeah, like you're the best. So the last one is lowercase p purpose.
Yeah, all lowercase.
Lowercase, tiny little purpose. And so what is our purpose? That's the third definition then is our purpose, our goals, like our purposeful goals.
Yeah, it's almost like a goal. It's just your intentions behind your day-to-day actions or your weekly actions or your monthly actions. But the thing is, these purposes kind of have to align with the other purposes. If it doesn't align with your social role, you might feel a little uncomfortable, or if you can't see it aligning somehow with your social identity, you might experience negative effects from that. And then if it also doesn't align with your overall divine purpose, whether that's your role as a cell or your umbrella purpose of growth, freedom, joy, or love, then also you'll probably feel uncomfortable and feel some negative effects. So we can have all these different various goals and purposes in the moment, day to day, but if they're out of alignment with the other kinds of purpose, could be trouble.
Okay, so this is very interesting. So they all have to, when we started this and we had the 3 definitions, I was going to say that they were all 3 different things, and they were 3 different definitions, but they didn't really, one didn't matter on the other. But now I feel that they're like a train. So I don't know if you know Thomas the Tank Engine. My son was obsessed, and they have magnets. So when you get them close, they click together. And so I just had that image when you said that about the purpose with the lowercase. I saw in my mind the big purpose, Thomas, and then the next one, Clancy, and then the next one, the caboose, and so purpose, the little purpose, is the caboose, and it brings up the rest, because you're right. If what you're trying to do, your daily goal, your purpose of today, doesn't match those other 2, you're going to feel really bad. You're going to feel really, and I know, because this has happened to me, where I've spent the whole day crying or dealing with drama or, shopping or whatever. And then I'm like, at the end of the day, oh, why do I feel so bad? Because my daily purpose didn't match the things that I really, really wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a fantastic metaphor analogy. These 3 or 4 purposes are magnetic train cars.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're close and aligned, everything's humming along smooth.
Yeah.
When they're separated or distant or unaligned, you are asking for trouble on those tracks. And the only thing I don't really like about the metaphor is it limits you to tracks instead of a wide open map with milestones like I was talking about.
True, but there's railroad system all over the place, so you really can ride your train anywhere.
But maybe like a caravan might work better.
Yeah, it might work. It was just the image that I got that really to show that they do connect.
Yeah, I love it.
Do matter.
Yeah, I love it. So a big part of why I'm usually at peace, not always, but usually at peace, is because I can see what my day-to-day actions and intentions and purposes are doing for the rest of my things. So some people would say, why did you waste so much time on League of Legends? And it's like, I know that I was using it as a battleground or a sparring practice for my mental fortitude. I was using it to remain calm under pressure and under stress with people that I used to have a problem with. And so when I managed to attain peace with them and see them as love and see them as light and see them as wonderful, valuable people in the moment, even if we were losing or I felt they were uncooperative or whatever it is, that was a huge win for me, and it prepared me for future things. And so I knew that going along. I was aware and conscious that this is what I was doing. And so no one could judge me or tell me, hey, don't do that. And since then, I barely played at all, and I haven't even cared. Like I can drop it in the bat of an eye.
I feel like that practice really helped you with more patience between us, and especially when, like, those 2 weeks you mentioned. I think that was really helpful for you.
Absolutely. And some people would be like, why did I invest so much time and energy and money in you? Like, why throw away all of these resources and end up with very little on this seemingly bad gamble? But I know that it's what my role models would have done, right? It's what Jesus would have done. It's like, it's a special form of abundance and investment. It's a special form of believing in another person. And if you can believe on that deeper level, the payoff can be huge. And so it's my gamble to take. It's my risk to take. And if I want to direct my time, energy, and resources that way, that's up to me. And no one can judge me or say shit to me for it. And I'll stand by it. And if I fail, like I failed before, if I fail again, I'll own it. No problem. But I'm at peace day to day. I'm at peace losing the money. I'm at peace losing the time. I'm at peace because I'm not even losing. It's
You've become an incredible teacher in those 5 years anyway.
Yeah. So it improves my teaching, and it improves my wisdom, and it improves my risk taking, and it improves my investment, and it improves so many things. I know what I'm doing. I'm okay with the pace. I know that it looks like it's slow or whatever, but I know how this stuff works. And this day-to-day thing that I'm doing aligns with my purpose in life, my social purpose, and it aligns with my grand purpose, my divine purpose. And so because of that, I'm generally at peace with it. The only time I'm not at peace with it is when I can see all the fighting and all the disharmony, and I'm like, I'm not able to serve or teach, and the learning isn't happening. And it's like, well, that's not aligned with my purpose. Yeah. So I will not be happy when that happens. And I will look to change things if that's the case. So you can see that, hopefully you can see that alignment between your day-to-day and your greater purposes is so key if you want to be happy and healthy and wise and on track and have good mental health. And if you show me someone who has bad mental health, there's a big chance that their purposes are not aligned, or they're not even aware of them, and that they haven't done the inner work to drop the layers and masks and become aware of them. And until they do, that mental anguish is probably going to remain. And they don't want to hear that, and people don't want to hear that. But is it really such a big ask to start dropping the layers and doing the inner work and loving yourself enough to align your purposes day to day? So stop doom scrolling and start doing the thing you're meant to do. If you don't know your title or your place in life, start exploring it and really get a handle on it. Like, you had to come up with a new title or name that felt better. So do that. It took a few seconds, but it's worth it. And now you can align your days with managerial things. And you can make sure that you're aligned as a good manager would be. Have you been a good manager? Could you be a better manager? Are there new systems for a good manager? Are there good managers to look up to? What did they do? Like, I've
already thought of like 15 new things that I can improve.
Right.
So yeah, this is awesome. This is super helpful. You are just, this whole episode, these 2 episodes today that we filmed, super helpful. I've got through a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
All good. I love it. I love your enthusiasm and excitement. My point is, if you take the time, apply yourself with commitment to aligning your purposes and revealing your purposes on all levels, the reward is insane. And you will end up being like your heroes who have a clear sense of purpose and who are moving on their path, and their day-to-day actions match their ambitions, right? That's something Evan used to always say: your actions have to map to your ambitions.
Yeah.
And they do. If your day-to-day actions don't map to your ambitions, you're screwed. You want to be super beautiful, but your day-to-day is sitting around? Good luck. You want to be super rich, but your day-to-day is selfishly serving no one? Good luck. Like, your actions have to match to your ambitions. And so does your energy, which is something he never used to say, but it's vital to include. Your attitude has to map to your ambitions.
Well, actually, that's recently why I started, I upped my skincare routine and all that stuff. Good. Because I thought, like, I want to be this trophy wife, but that trophy wife takes care of her skin every day, takes care of her hair, does her nails, does her makeup, like, every day, not just when she films the podcast. So I've been stepping it up. I took a day off to let my lashes breathe, and because it's good for your face, like 1 day a week. But still, I have stepped it up and started doing things that the girl that I want to become does. So yeah,
I love it. I hope that's enough. I mean, it's a big topic. We could get deeper into it, but
I have a whole bunch of questions over here. We literally just talked about the definition of purpose through the whole episode. We broke it down to three definitions, but I'm so glad we did, because had we not, people would come here with the definition of purpose in their mind and confused with what we were talking about. So this episode will, like last episode, this episode, and the episode before, there are 3 of them, are going to have part 2s. So,
okay, but now we have to change the title, because this episode can't be what is purpose and fulfillment and happiness, because I barely got to talk about fulfillment and happiness.
I know.
I did touch on fulfillment because it comes when you align with your purposes and move towards your milestones.
Yeah. But I think
I didn't mention happiness at all. So, like, what's the real title for this? This whole episode is more like everything you wanted to know about purpose, but were never told, or something.
Like, purpose isn't what you think it is. Or,
yeah. Basically.
Purpose has multiple definitions. Do you know
Oh,
Which one or something like that?
The 4 types of or the 3.5 types of purpose.
3.5 types of purpose. Which one are you working on? Or,
Right?
yeah.
There's the big divine purpose of the whole source, God, higher power, oversoul.
Yes.
And then there's the roles of its cells. Like each cell has its own niche or something.
Yes.
Then there's the social purpose, like where do you fit in your tribe? And then there's the individual moment to moment, second to second purpose that you are about.
Right.
In service to all the other purposes. So like that little one, that niche role, it's kind of like half a purpose. Like, are you a lip cell? Are you a skin cell?
3.5. 3.5 definitions. That 3.5, that half is going to get people to go.
Yeah, it's clickable.
Telling you. Okay. Wait, we got to do one more thing. Okay, ready? And now my purpose as Jay's manager and the manager of Eyes Wide Open is to show you our book called Eyes Wide Open Volume 1. It is the world's first self-help coffee table book. And its purpose is to help you love yourself, improve your life, and possibly find your purpose. You can download it for free at eyeswideopenfree.com. And when you do that, you get an extra bonus called How to Cure the 7 Deadly Mental Health Thingies.
How to Cure the 7 Deadly Mental Health Traumas.
And that's the real title. So go download it. It's free. We love you. Yay!
Yay.
So, Jay, thank you so much. That was incredible. And again, when I think you're going to zig, you zag. I thought this whole episode was going a different way. I love the way it went. I love that we can give some nuance and understanding to what purpose is. And so this is going to need a part 2. I'm super psyched because we are going to film a bunch of episodes because Jay is going to Australia soon, you guys. So send him lots of love and lots of positive vibes for his trip. And while he's gone, I will be crying in a corner. No,
Good day, mate.
Just kidding. I'm not. He's going to be putting another shrimp on the Barbie, and I am going to be watching movies about Australia so I can see where he's at. I don't know. I'm just teasing. Jay, I have one more question for you. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our wonderful and amazing audience?
Yeah, experiment with purpose. Experiment with purpose because things that you do with purpose just feel better. Try it and see. Try doing stuff without purpose, purposeless, nihilistically, and try doing stuff with purpose. And if you're ever stuck for purpose, just know that your overall purpose is to be more loving and be more loved. And there's plenty of ways to accomplish that. So meditate on it, dance it out, believe in it, and be as purposeful as you can. You got this.
And that's why our book and this podcast are called Eyes Wide Open. After today, you will know what purpose means because we gave you a bunch of definitions. And now you'll know how you can do things with purpose or maybe without. So now you can go to this video here. And I don't know the title because I did not do the proper research on time before we did this episode. But I promise it has to do with purpose and it will help you, your life, your business, and your mental health and help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.